What's going on, guys? Big Clyde 34 coming at you with a video that I'm incredibly excited to make. I was so hyped up for the Corvette reveal last night. I was excited to see what they could come up with on one hand, but on the other hand, I was nervous because I knew that the mid-engine Corvette was coming.
That's what she said.
And I didn't know if it was going to be great or if it was going to be a flop, but after watching that thing last night and then getting on Facebook and seeing all the pictures come out of it, seeing it from different angles, I have to say that I went from anxious to a little bit disappointed, and then it started growing on me very quickly. I kind of have escalated all the way to the point where I actually think that the 2020 C8 Corvette will be the best performance car produced ever in history and into the foreseeable future. I got 3 reasons why this car is going to be the one to have. Real quick first, I hate to bother you guys with this, but I do appreciate all the likes, so if you could smack the like button down below and subscribe, that would be awesome. So let's dive into this. Reason number 1 is that design. Now, this is highly subjective. Obviously, people are going to have their own opinions on this, and this is really where my thoughts evolved the most. When they rolled this thing out on stage, I was like, this design looks kind of corny. This thing looks like a Lotus. And then I kind of started picking up Lexus vibes from the front end. And then I started picking up like a Ford GT body line. And I was like, man, like, what did they do to this thing?
Look how they massacred my boy.
I don't think that the way that they filmed it did it enough justice. But once I started seeing pictures and more different videos coming out from lower angles, cars usually look more like themselves from lower angles, I started thinking that this thing looks absolutely great. It is a complete overhaul, but it still kind of finds a way to take the next step in the Corvette lineage. One thing that I'm going to come back to probably several times in this video that people are very easily forgetting is that this is a base model car. Like, it's a base model. It is a base model. So the looks are going to be out the roof when the Z06 comes out and the ZR1. As we know, the cars get a more aggressive stance due to the ground effects. They have some different body components. As we know, the C6 cars came in a wide body. The part that I still don't get, maybe you guys can comment below, is what is GM doing with the front engine muscle car? Like, did they essentially just kill the muscle car off in the GM world by getting rid of the front engine Corvette? Because it's definitely not a muscle car. You guys heard it as well as I did. They called this thing a supercar on the presentation last night. So I don't know, that's just a weird aside. What do you guys think about that in the comments below? Anyways, number 2 is the obvious one, the price. Like, this is blowing me away. Obviously, granted, I did say it's a base model car, but this car is going to start in the 50s. My one concern is that these scummy dealers get their hands on these things and mark them up through the roof. So we don't know how much they're actually going to cost when they come out, but if you don't need to be one of the first people to get your hands on one of these, you will be able to grab the 8th generation of Corvette, or in the 50s, at that $50,000 to $60,000 price range. Even if you get this thing loaded out and it's 70 grand, it's still going to be the best priced mid-engine supercar slash muscle car slash whatever you want to call it, best mid-engine performance machine for the dollar. I'm not too well versed in the mid-engine world, but it seems like most of the respectable nameplates, they're all well into the 6-figure range. So $50,000 here is a giant jab at that market. It might actually be making those other executives for the other companies a little bit nervous. That was actually a pretty big power move by GM, which leads me to my 3rd and final point, is the modifiability, I made that word up, and power. So I saw some people complaining that it only made 495 horsepower. Let's bring it all the way back around again to this is a base model car. First release of the first generation of mid-engine Corvette makes right at 500 horsepower, which I think for a base model is another step up. I think it was like 40 to 50 horsepower over the base model C7 Corvette. The thing here is that separates this from the rest of the pack is that I believe eventually, give it like a year or 2, and this car will be much more modifiable than any other mid-engine supercar basically that there is out there, since I believe that this LT2 is still a pushrod engine. It's still based off of the LT architecture. So we're going to be able to use similar components to build these things. It's gonna be a mess to figure that out and get the groundwork laid out as far as like exhaust goes, and if you want to do a Pro Charger. I'm thinking about running a Pro Charger in the back of a car is kind of like a neat but weird thing to think about. But yeah, that's the edge that this car is going to have. Chevrolet did, I think they officially came out and said that they don't want people messing with these things, so they're gonna try and make that computer like a unhackable whatever. Yeah, right. It took a while to get into the C7 ZR1. It took about a year, but I'm sure that before long we will be able to modify these things. We will be able to see them making supercharged and nitrous and turbocharged passes down the drag strip. That's gonna be so cool. Like, I'm just getting excited thinking about that. So modifiability is going to be this car's biggest advantage in this market. You have the 8-speed dual clutch transmission, which is also going to be pretty cool. It makes me wonder if they're going to do like a stick shift version for the Z06 maybe, because back in the day the Z06 was only available in a stick shift for the C6 Z06. The C5 Z06 I believe was the same way. Don't quote me on that though, and definitely don't at me. My last thing, where I'm just gonna stir up that pot a little bit, I thought that the GT500 was pretty freaking awesome now that we've seen that thing at Goodwood and all that. I think that the Corvette is going to be faster than the GT500 in most ways possible. The GT500 says it's going to make 700 horsepower or something like that. But as we all know, a 500 horsepower Corvette is about in the same ballpark as a 700 horsepower Mustang. Don't hate, those are just facts. Anyways, this has been Big Collab 34. Thanks again for liking. Thanks again for subscribing. I will catch you guys next time. Hopefully I can kind of catch up with one of these things in person soon. Maybe get behind the wheel of one. You never know. But anyways, I will catch you guys tomorrow. The next project that I'm actually working on right now is the single cab's almost back. The Tahoe is going to get a fun project, not power related, and we are going to be installing a lift, and there's a twist to it. It's going to be sketchy. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time.